The Overwatch system in CSGO shows gameplay clips to players and lets them determine whether or not the suspect is cheating or griefing in some way. Over time, this helps train the system to get better at detecting potential cheaters, which can then present players with cases which are more likely to show cheaters, in a never-ending, continually improving feedback loop. But one player found a way to automate the process. 2eggs built his own AI tool to watch Overwatch cases and to decide whether or not they were guilty. Named HestiaNet, it had a high success rate, catching 15,000 cheaters, helping in his goal to rid the game of as many cheaters as possible. Then he too got a VAC ban. But did his system actually help the game? The Overwatch system has had troubles. How many? It's difficult to tell. Sometimes it doesn't even seem like it's working at all, likely by design. But I think it's safe to say that it will have faced heavy sabotage from cheat makers, and from other people trying to bring the system down and to break it in one way or another. If you want a good anti-cheat, the most effective thing you can do is to not reveal how the anti-cheat works. And that must be infuriating for Valve employees, who see their beloved Overwatch system being attacked by cheaters on one side, and their efforts to keep it operating criticised by everybody else. Yet they must grit their teeth and keep stum, for that is how they keep the whole thing safe. It's one of the reasons why Valve doesn't want people to get their hands on CSGO's source code, and anything else that would help them to get a better look at the game's inner workings, which would give them a better idea of how to exploit it. So it's understandable why we don't know specifics about Overwatch. In fact, I was surprised they revealed as much about it as they did. Say you're a cheat maker. Say you want to bypass the Overwatch system. One strategy you've probably heard cheaters using is to crash the server, presumably to stop it from ever being able to send a demo of that match over to the Overwatch system. Others have spoken about broken or corrupted demos where it just doesn't look right, or where it immediately fast forwards all the way to the end. I have no inside knowledge about such measures, but I strongly suspect that these are things that cheaters have used to attempt to hide from the Overwatch system. And Valve are probably aware of this and have employed countermeasures of some sort. When they introduced that demo skipping feature to instantly jump to each round, it was great for people watching demos back, but I also wonder if it was done to split demos up into smaller segments for Overwatch purposes, potentially making downloads smaller for people doing the cases, or simply to make the recordings less susceptible to corruption. So yes, one way you could try to bypass Overwatch is to sabotage the demos, but the other and more insidious way you could damage it is to break the Overwatch system itself. You see, there's more to Overwatch than just the human element. There's also VACnet, which is Valve's own AI-driven program, kind of like HestiaNet, but bigger. And this system scans through every match of CSGO in search of stuff that isn't right, and can automatically submit suspicious cases to Overwatch itself. And this program is being trained on Overwatch, meaning that users' verdicts will over time shape how VACnet behaves, and which sort of things that in the future it will detect as being rather sus. Clearly, VACnet is the thing to sabotage if cheat makers want to break the Overwatch system, and you do this by training it on incorrect data. Say, for instance, somebody reports non-cheaters as cheaters, and the cheaters as non-cheaters. Overwatch has measures to address this. It gives your profile a rating based on how accurate your past scores were. But imagine millions of people started reporting the wrong things. So many that those who are actually reporting the cheaters are suddenly the minority. They'll become the ones that Overwatch would consider to be wrong. Now, I'm sure that the Overwatch system has faced this sort of attack, and I'm sure that Valve has measures in place to combat this, likely by getting people to review cases of known cheaters and already VAC-banned players. Since then, the system already knows whether or not that player is cheating, and it would use these demos simply to ensure that whoever was doing the Overwatch case was reaching the right verdict about it. Let's go back to 2egg. Let's assume for now that his automated Overwatch system had the best of intentions. It may still have unintentionally been part of the problem. The very reason that real people are needed in the Overwatch system is to train the AI to get better at detecting cheaters. If you try training the AI with AI, it becomes an uncontrolled feedback loop, with no way of learning and detecting new ways of cheating. A few years ago, we were informed that we should see fewer obvious spinbot cases in the Overwatch system, which signals to me that Valve's own Overwatch AI systems have reached a level where they can quite consistently detect and ban spinbot cases automatically, which frees humans up for the more difficult cases instead. But look at how many years that took before Valve themselves were confident enough to make their own systems to ban stuff as obvious as spinbotters. That's not a weakness of Valve's, merely caution built upon staggering amounts of data and feedback, something that a third-party program like HestiaNet will never be able to match. An AI system like VACnet cannot stand still, and it will have to continually adapt to spot new cheats and to overcome new sabotage attempts, and for that reason, it will always need a human helping hand just to keep it on the right track. And so trying to teach it with yet another AI system is missing the point. So it could be that one of Overwatch's biggest problems is from well-intentioned players building their own automated cheat detection systems. So even if HestiaNet currently has a high success rate at spotting cheats, any discrepancies in its behaviour will become greater over time. and so if HestiaNet is operated by enough people, it could threaten to destroy VACnet in a never-ending, AI-driven feedback loop. Anti-cheat is a game of cat and mouse. One side cannot beat the other. It is a constant back and forth, with each side responding to what the other side has just done. In the words of Jim Gordon, escalation. We start carrying semi-automatics, they buy automatics. We start wearing Kevlar, they buy aimbots. Or in this case, AI systems training the AI systems training the AI systems that Valve is attempting to use to detect cheaters. Valve, please fix.